Perfect. So we are live on Facebook. All right. Hello, everyone. This is Joe Russo, the CEO of the Palm Beach Tech Association. On May the 4th, be with you. I have a splendid little Star Wars background here. And we are here today for the South Florida Tech Talk virtual, coming to you from our Facebook page. We have a really special guest, one of our members who is going to be talking about mobile app testing tips and tricks. But before we get to that, I just want to go through the quick intro with everybody who is watching here today or after the fact. We are the Palm Beach Tech Association. We are here to build South Florida into a tech hub. We are a nonprofit organization of over 160 members, ranging from Office Depot and FP&L to a lot of the startups and a lot of the small companies that really keep the business ticking in our community. Now, if you haven't seen before, we have some really awesome members. You can learn more about what they do and become one yourself if you go to palmbeachtech.org. If you'd like to join, we have multiple memberships for startups on up to large companies, really any shape or size. We do have memberships for you. That keeps our organization going to keep our tech industry growing. If you want to get more involved, you can join us on Slack. You can also text your email to that number, 561-250-7206. With that, I would love to really briefly introduce our speaker today. She is the CEO of Vconnex Services. She actually gave a little bit of this talk a couple months ago, right before we went on lockdown. And she's been a 3-year member of our organization. So Jay, if you want to take it, I'm going to unshare here. Perfect. Sorry, I just lost my, the whole screen share thing just got a little bit away from me there. But feel free to take it away, give an introduction, and dive right into your talk.
Okay. Thank you, Joe, for introducing me. And I would like to thank Palm Beach Tech for giving me this opportunity to speak to this group. And I want to thank Nikki also for thinking of me. And before we go into the session, I just want to introduce myself. And my name is Jeyanthi Rajaselvarasu. And I started my career as a developer, web application developer, and then moved on to project management and technical project manager. I have managed many web applications and mobile applications. I started my company a few years back, and where we do web and mobile applications, and including iOS and Android applications. So I am here to share some of the experiences that we learned, the tips and tricks that we applied for our mobile testing. And I want to share the presentation that I have. Can you see my presentation?
I cannot yet.
What about now?
Yes, we're all set.
Okay. So thank you everyone for joining today. And as we all know that we are in the lockdown period, and then we are still able to manage many things. It's all because of mobile apps and web apps. And with a simple click, we can do many things. We can do online shopping, and we can do money transfer or upload multimedia images, videos, and we can edit a lot of videos and amazing videos. All can happen like with web and mobile apps. And then we are lucky that we are able to do many things at home. And so it's our responsibility to make sure that we test those applications thoroughly, and then the user experience is great. So that way, like, we can retain the customers. So before I just talk about the mobile application, I just want to, okay. So we need to understand what type of application we are testing. So we need to understand whether we are testing a web application or native application or hybrid application. So web application is a browser-based application. It's developed in HTML5 and CSS3, JavaScript, or any other framework. It works on different browsers, where we don't have to download those applications from the App Store or Play Store. Native application is the one that we download from the store, and then it's specifically designed for that particular device or framework. Hybrid application is a combination of these two. So it's a web application wrapped with a wrapper class, and then it's available in the store. You can download it with a plugin. You can have native application function features too. So we need to understand what type of application we are testing. Next thing is testing types. These are some of the common testing types that we need to do. It's critical. And first thing is the application under test. We call it AUT, and functional testing is the key of it. Function means like there is an input and there is an output. So in between input and output, there is a logic. That logic is happening. The logic is being built by the developer or programmer. So as a tester, we need to know what is my input and what is my output. So if we know that, we can test the functional testing very well, and we can come up with different scenarios. Next one is compatibility testing. What is compatibility testing? So if you are testing a browser, web application, so it should be compatible in different browsers. We have users and they might be using different browsers. So we need to know what type of browsers they are primarily using. So we need to develop our test cases based on that. And if you are testing a mobile app, and then we need to know different devices. Is it compatible with this device, or is it compatible with the tablets or phones? Depending on what type of application we are testing, we need to do the compatibility testing. Next one is user experience testing. Nowadays, users are driving the application's quality and then the stay of it. So in that case, user experience is the key. If their attention span is very, very, very less. If you think about like it's not even like 8 seconds or 10 seconds, they download an app. If they are not seeing what they are looking for, they can uninstall the app and then move on to the next one, because competition is very high. There are many apps available in the app store. So in that case, user experience is very important. We need to make sure that they are able to navigate between screens easily. They are able to identify it's intuitive enough that they can navigate to different screens. Security testing, that is another critical one, because every application, including healthcare application is the main one. So basically, like we need to make sure that the data is secure. Only who has the authority authorization, they can access the data. We cannot just like that show any document, any data, or anything to anybody. Only who has authority authorization, they can view the screens, they can see the data, they can do actions, they can perform functions. Then also, if you are doing any healthcare application, it's encryption. They use encryption. So in that case, we need to know how to test those. And then we need to come up with all test cases for that. Next one is performance testing. As I mentioned, that attention span is very, very less. So the application or the app that we have, it should load very fast. That means like we cannot make the user wait for something. In that case, our application, making sure that the screen loads like within 3 seconds or 4 seconds or even less than that, that will be the best app. In case if it takes more time, we tell our developers that at least like put a loading sign, like just say that server may be busy or whatever reason, like just to say that the user is being informed that they are not just waiting, thinking that the app frozen or like it's not working, like they don't move away from our app. So that is very critical. There are tools available for performance testing. We can use that. And then for load testing also, we can use tools. We'll come to that one later. And so functional testing, compatibility testing, user experience testing, security testing, and performance testing. All these are very critical for application under test. And then once we deliver the app, it's not that like app is done, like we finish testing, like it's available for better use all the time. It doesn't mean like that. So always it's evolving, like we always add more features, enhancements, or adding additional functionalities. In that case, we need to test the new functionality as well as the existing functionality. So when we do the new functionality, when we add enhancements, we need to test that the enhancement is working fine as well as the existing functionality was not affected with the new functionality. So that is called regression testing. We need to make sure that we need to perform the regression testing, and then users are happy. They don't even know the difference that existing function is working as expected. So this is where like we do a lot of automation because it's going to be repetitive test like we already know what is the functional testing. We already tested many functions, so we automate those manual steps, and then like we go with the new testing. So I will explain that one later. So for our application, we use some of the strategy that to test the applications. Always we use 5W questions before even we apply the how questions. So when we ask our testers to test, they always think about how to do the test first. So what we recommend is, instead of finding like how to do the test, first find what we are going to do. Like just find answers for all W questions. What needs to be done? What is the app type? And who are my customers? And when the project is going to become live, and then what is the deadline, what is the project schedule, and then where is my test environment, am I going to test in the development environment, and am I going to, when I'm going to move to the production environment, or do we have the staging environment for testing, and then why we are testing, what is the purpose of it, and then who are my customers, who is my team member, and then what is my role, am I going to do test every function of it, or like this is the only page I'm going to test it. So we need to understand, we need to get as much information possible for all W questions before even we find a how question, how to do the testing. So if we know the answers for W questions, we definitely can come up with all the possible answers for how questions. And then we can come up with a strategy, come up with a plan, come up with a process. We can have all the test cases, test scripts, and then we can plan the approach for the deliverables. Next strategy that we use in our company is the mind map. So this one, to explain this one, if we have a 10 pieces puzzle, definitely we can finish it. Like whether we start in the middle or you start in the corner, definitely we can finish the puzzle. Even 50 pieces puzzle, definitely we can finish it. And 100 pieces puzzle, like you can finish it if you have a strategy, you can finish it faster, you can finish it better. And 1,500 to 1,000 pieces puzzle, definitely we need to have some kind of strategy, some kind of method process, so that way we can approach it in an organized way, and then we can come to the completion actually. So for that, we always recommend to have a mind map. We tell our testers that come up, identify all the functions that we need for this application, group it by function, group it by the interface level, group it by the network testing level, group it by device level or browser level, and then go deeper to the next level. Like for each function, again, come up with mind map. So if we have like this, then it's easier for us. Even if one tester leaves, the next tester comes on board, and they can easily catch up on like the overall picture of the application, which how many pages are there and where I am fitting, like where I fit, and then which portion I am testing. So they can easily catch up. So the mind map is the one. It helps us a lot to do things in an organized way. Next approach is we do the scenario-based testing. So basically, testers are being hired to do the scenario-based testing, like to do the user perspective testing, not from developer perspective. So basically, developers, they do the basic testing, they do unit testing, they do this integration testing, they do their testing based on their understanding. Because they are in the development world, there are times like they might miss something that from the user perspective, see from the user perspective. So testers are being hired to do the testing from the user perspective. So the company wants to invest in testers to find the mistakes early enough so that they have happy customers. So that's the purpose of that. So scenario-based testing come and identify possible scenarios as much as possible. Like one of the example is for e-commerce site. We all use e-commerce site. As a user, I should be able to add items into a cart and complete my order. So this is one scenario. This is like simple positive flow, like adding, like shop the items, look for the items that you want to purchase, add to the cart, and then go to checkout process, enter shipping information, payment information, place order, and complete order. Then you get notification. So, but if this is, every customer is not going to be doing the same way. There are some customers, they add to the cart, they come to the checkout portion, then they think that, oh, I forgot to shop one more item, let me go back. So they continue shopping and then they go in the middle. When they finish coming and the shopping, then they come back. We need to make sure that the cart is still holding the item, the count is still safe, safe the same. And then again, the next one is that there are customers like they come to all the level until the payment. Then when the payment comes, okay, then they change their mind, then they don't complete the order. They just leave it. And then in that case, we need to come up with all possible scenarios. Are they the customers like logged in customers, or they just going to do it as a guest? Even if they are a guest, are we maintaining the items in the cart still? How long we are maintaining the items? So we need to come up with all possible scenarios for scenario testing. So then in that case, our test cases will be complete. Every time when we test it, like we don't miss any scenario and we don't lose the customer. And tester skills. So what we really look for is we ask testers to break the system as much as possible. This is the highly critical skill that I think that because when our developers give the screen for us, like for example, like login screen, if they give, we make sure like we just don't put any username password, we just click on login. So because we try to break as much as possible. So we are being hired to break the system and then find the mistakes early enough so that we can keep the customers happy. So break it as much as possible. Enter nothing, enter all space characters, and then try to log in. Enter special characters, try to log in. We had some scenarios that um, like we tested, released the app, and then like suddenly like the customers like complained that we are not able to log in, we are not able to log in. So we didn't even know like what could be the reason, because we tested all possible scenarios. We couldn't even recreate it. So then I was asking him like, could you please send me your password if you don't mind to share the password? And he shared the password. Then he put the pound sign in the password. So that was the only scenario that we missed. That was the escape defect that we didn't even realize that. Then as soon as we saw the special character, then we looked into the situation. The developer included all possible special characters except that character. So that was the one created the problem. So there are scenarios it will happen like that. So we need to know how to test. We need to know how to break as much as possible. This is the only place we can break many things. And next one is negative thinking. Always like, what if like something happens here? What if scenario? Think negatively, like it's not only the positive flow, we have negative flow as well. And no assumptions. As a tester, we cannot assume things. This is how it's going to work. This is how the user is going to enter. This is how the customer is going to act in the next step. So it changes. We cannot assume things. We have to think different possible ways. So every question is important question, especially when the tester asks a question, we know that that question triggers us sometimes like, oh, we forgot this scenario. We forgot this scenario. Then we had to add some rethink, redesign some of the app. So those are the things like no question is a silly question. So we always recommend to ask as many questions possible. The testers questions trigger us to do in a different way. And also that what we have realized, it's not only tester challenges, it's a developer challenges. They have a lot of challenges, multiple platform challenges, or like new OS versions, upgrades, and then different devices, different screen sizes. They have their own challenges. And connectivity issues. Always, if you're testing an app, like making sure that you test in data network and as well as Wi-Fi network or low network. And if your application is working in offline, then you need to know how to test offline testing also, and data security. So those are the challenges that developer has. And as a tester, we have our own challenges. We may not have the proper tools to test it. We may not have proper testing process. And we may not have actual device to test it. We can use emulators or simulators to test, but there are times that actual device testing is the one that's going to help for the final release, especially if you are testing push notification or anything. Like when you are in the app, if the notification is coming, then you had to test those things in the actual device, not in emulator or simulators. And then like there are times like you have to tilt your phone, like um, your landscape mode, portrait mode, swipe functions. Those are the things like you can do in the actual device better than your emulators or simulators. And not having enough time to test. Basically, like developers, uh, they may go over the estimated time and day, but at the same time, we have to meet the release deadline. So in that case, we may not have enough time to test it. We have to use all the time to making sure that the identify the critical functions. If in case if we have the shortage of time, test the critical functions, and then low priority list can stay. Then you can test it later also. So what else we do? We prepare a checklist. For example, like if you are working in the airline industry and you cannot book a flight for yesterday, so in that case, your date function should not accept a time. The start time cannot be greater like less than your current date and time. So those are things like you can come up with all kind of checklist for each and every function based on your application requirements, and then follow that and keep it in your test case document. That helps you a lot to do thorough testing for device testing, network specific checks, or like and also we do a lot of beta testing. Like we need to make sure like it works well before even we release. And then if you are going to do an upgrade, making sure that you test it very well, how you are managing the update. And then there are times app crashes. So you need to understand like how the app crashes. And then like that means like you just if app crashing, that means like the programmer did not handle the null value properly. That means like they handle some value, they're expecting something, but the app did not handle, or something is not being handled properly. We need to know how to find the log for that. So learn the steps and keep a checklist. Then we can go from there. That way, like the app will not crash. And then speed and load test. We need to understand the target audience. If we know the target audience, how many people will be using this particular screen at a time, and then we can plan well ahead of the time for the load testing, the speed testing. That way, like it's not failing, we are not losing the customer. And same with encryption authorization. We need to understand the roles and responsibilities and who has access to what screen. And if we know it very clearly, and if we have a checklist, then we can go from there. These are some of the tools that I have listed here, and we use Selenium for our functional regression testing, and there are many tools available. There are tools like open source tools, and then there are paid tools as well. And performance testing, you can use JMeter or LoadRunner. Test management tool, like you can use Jira, TestLink, and TestPad. And defect management, Jira tool is there, Bugzilla is there, and we use Jira. And then we also have our own inbuilt ticketing system that's for to get customers ticket. And for mobile testing, you can use Appium or Robatium, Selenium. You can use there are many tools available in the market. And then web service testing, we use Postman. And we also use the rest assured in Selenium. So that is also good. And end-to-end testing, you can use Cypress.io or Puppet. What I'm going to show here is that we have our own product, SaaS product, and then I'm going to show you like how the test script, like automation script run. I just recorded the script. I'm not really playing the script here, but I recorded it. So what we do, the automation, we write a script of the step that we have to test it. So that way we don't have to test again and again. So the inputs, all the inputs are in Excel file. The script will go read the input from the Excel file and then apply to the script, apply to your screen, and then like go to the next screen, submit the form, whatever action we have planned for the test plan. Let me run that. It's just like a minute or less.
And if anyone is following along, feel free to post some questions in the Facebook chat. There's a couple that are coming in, just so you're aware. So after, whenever you get us to a whenever you get to a stopping point, just let me know and I can read some questions off to you.
Okay, so this is a script that you can see. Joe, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so like all the input, like, okay, so it's searching for the form and it's entering the data. I'm not clicking any of the screen, like it's all automated and it's going on. It's through the script. It enters the data and then it submits the data. It submits the form. Okay, so that's the script. So basically, when we write the script, this is how the automation runs, and then like it produces the results. You can see the results here. The reports will be like this. All the test cases that we have identified, and then the actual steps, and then the results of the task test. So if we see any fail in automation script, then we know that whether we can go for release, we identify, address it before we go for release. You can see like how. So for every screen, we write automation script like based on the scenario. So we write like scenario based automation script and then we run it. So it takes like just a day before the release date. We can run all the scripts. And also I just want to show you you can see like how we have test case document, like it's just a sample, like it's not really complete one. You can see that we have test case ID and then test case test scenario. Then you can write all the steps like the flow of it, the function of it, and test data, what data you have to enter, and then what should be my actual result. And then like when we really test it, like you can write your expected result and you can actual result. So when somebody is writing a defect, we always say that at least test it 3 times before even report the defect to the developer, because there are times like you may not have the latest version, or like you may not have downloaded the app, the latest app, or like you may not have refreshed your screen. So test it 3 times, like in different screens on different devices, before you even report the defect to developer.
Hey, we had a couple questions come in from Camillo that just to bring up, because I think they're a little bit timely to what you're doing. One is, are you using TestNG? And what platform are you using for test reporting?
We are using
So I think you're...
We are
yeah.
using TestNG framework.
Yeah.
And in Selenium, we are using that.
Okay. He also asked, what standards do you suggest developers follow so the elements can be easily targeted?
We just follow the same standard as TestNG standard, like the WebDriver, but I can get you more information later.
Awesome. So I don't, are you on Facebook by chance?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll tag you in the chat with him, so you can follow up maybe more directly afterwards.
Yes,
and
yeah.
then carry on. Okay.
And do you have any other questions?
Yeah. So with that, if anyone has any other questions, if you want to, dump them into the chat there. Camilo said thank you to you just now as well. And part of the thing, and this is just my perspective from a question. You brought up basically hiring you to try and break things, and the importance of really stress testing your tool, your tools and your applications through that. How important do you think that is in the modern era, and with the notion that not everybody stress tests everything in the 21st century, right? There's a lot of technology out there that breaks. But how do you think people are taking it in terms of a seriousness now?
I don't know what else I can say, but like stress testing, they don't do much. At the same time, nowadays, like your framework, your design, your technology, everything is taking care of many things, and with because all structure, and then you can do things. At the same time, I stress that we had to do the testing. We need to break as much as possible because we don't want to lose the customers. The competition is high.
Got it. And as far as give me a little bit of a background, and I guess for the folks on the call, what's some of the work that you do, or some of the clients, or some of the industries that you work in that you're employing some of this?
Okay, so basically we do applications in healthcare industry and education and engineering domain. And for the healthcare industry, like we developed a app for doctors where they can go for rounding to different hospitals. They have the rounding list of all the patients, and they can submit billing also, tap to bill concept. They can enter the information with their diagnosis code, ICD code, CPD code, and also that application is integrated with many hospitals here. Like we do the HL7 integration from one software, one EMR software to this software. So our software is the one, like it's called patient management intelligence. It tracks the patients, and all the admission and discharge messages are integrated into the one system where doctors can log into the system, and then they can see the patient tracks like the admission discharge of the last 90 days. So that's one of the major application that we developed. And also for Lynn University in Boca Raton, and we developed a grades and attendance management system where like they started the iPad initiative a few years back, and then we developed the application where the faculty and students can use the app. They can see their grades, and they can see their attendance. They can do the attendance from the classroom itself. That's the app we developed for them. And also we have our own product for geotechnical engineering, like in civil construction industry, where field technicians would go to the field when they do any road work, any testing, the materials testing, and they collect the data samples from the bridge or like airport construction or any building construction. They collect the samples, they do soil testing or concrete testing, and then they create reports. So basically it's called digital scheduling and task dispatching on the go. That's our app, and it's called eField Data. That's one of the SaaS product that we market to the industry. And so that one is like technician, they don't even have to come to office to collect any work order or task that they have to do on the particular day. So they can directly go to the field. They get all the task notification, and then they can directly go to the field. They have all the information about the project. They can collect data and come and drop the samples at the office. So then the lab guys will work on it, and then it integrates with the invoices and timesheets. Basically, that app really helps during this COVID situation because like they don't even have to come to office to collect any data or submit any data. Like they can do everything from the app. So it's really helping them to manage their social distancing.
Sure.
And apart from this one, we do a lot of integration, like data migration projects, like from one software to another software, like from one EMR to another EMR or EHR. We just, with a script, like we just transfer data. We can download data. So we work with multiple practices in Miami and Fort Lauderdale area.
You got healthcare, you got education, you got construction. I mean, those are three good industries to have right now.
Yes, these are the industries. It's good.
Yeah.
It's keeping us busy, and we are happy. And we have both on-site and offshore models, so we are able to do this.
Awesome. Well, that we're just about at time. So I want to thank you for joining us and talking again. I know you gave a tech talk not that long ago as well. So thank you for coming back for round two. Thank you for everybody who joined us on the phone. or excuse me, on the phone, on Facebook for today. And if you're interested in coming back, these tech talks are all stored on Facebook and they're being posted on YouTube as well. So thank you for everybody for joining. Thank you very much for presenting, and I hope everybody has a very splendid May the 4th. If you haven't noticed, it's Star Wars Day. I have the Star Wars background, so that's what I'll be doing later. So thank you all again, and have a good rest of your week.
Okay, thank you very much.